The STEM Society.
Welcome back to the STEM Society. My name is Cole Jackson. This is your weekly album check-in. This is the review show. This is where I give you guys my thoughts on new albums that dropped over the weekend. And boy, did we have a good weekend. We had a lot of music that dropped. We had a lot of pretty nice albums that dropped. And I had a great time shuffling through a lot of these albums. There's two in particular I want to talk to you guys about this week. One is the Clipse album, Let God Sort 'Em Out. And the other one is Larry June's new album with Cardo, Until the Night Comes. Both of those are two standout albums to me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the review. Starting off with the Clipse, Let God Sort 'Em Out. 13 tracks, 41 minutes long. The Clipse have shown me that everybody else has been doing rollouts completely wrong. They came out and just taught a masterclass when it comes to a rollout. The rollout was great. They've been away for 15 years, and these niggas came out and said, here's how you do a rollout. You gave us a great start. You gave us a great interview with the GQ interview. You gave us a great single with Ace Trumpets. Everything worked. All of the different interviews that went on, all the different collabs that they did, all of that shit worked all the way up until the album dropped and you got a Tiny Desk concert to end everything. That built up a lot of anticipation. That gave me a lot of excitement. That let me know that you can do old school things and it still works. That shit that they did, that's early 2000s rollout shit. That's not, nobody's doing rollouts like that anymore. The only other person that probably does a great rollout is Kanye. But they really came out and showed us that if you do a rollout correctly, you can actually build up anticipation for a quality album, and they just dropped a quality album. Pharrell, if you're watching this, I owe you an apology. I am so sorry that I talked shit. I literally said that Pharrell could not hold this album up by himself. I said it was 50-50 on the producing. I said if it's only going to be Pharrell, it may or may not work. And I literally said you need Chad for this to work. And I was so wrong. Every beat on here sounds intentional. Everything sounds motivated. This nigga was focused. Now, I have heard Pharrell put out some bad beats. Just gonna be honest with you. For some strange reason, he came out and showed his ass. We got guitar riffs from Lenny Kravitz on Chains of Whips. We got a beat drop 22 seconds into the Mike Tyson Blow to the Face song, which is crazy. The beat switch on So Far Ahead, wild. Chandeliers goes so hard with these synths, and then he fucking switches the beat up to some kind of old school beat. It just worked. Everything that Pharrell touched on this album worked. I feel like a fool because I literally said Pharrell couldn't do it. And I was just going off of what the last thing I really enjoyed was Pusha T's Almost Dry album. I literally said in a previous episode, I said Kanye watched him on that album, and he did. But I didn't know Pharrell was holding this in the tuck. I didn't know Pharrell had this in him anymore. It sounds very focused. It sounds very motivated. It sounds like when the Clipse called him up, he was ready to go. And if you watch any of these interviews that the Clipse have had, they said that Pharrell basically created these from scratch. These didn't come out of a folder or anything. And I'm just like amazed that Pharrell can still give us this type of quality production. I haven't heard this from him in a very long time, and it just makes me so proud that he came out and he dropped he just gave us a masterclass on how to solo produce an album. And I like the fact that they decided to go with one producer throughout the whole album, and it worked. People don't do that shit anymore. And this just goes to show if you can stick with somebody that you know, and if you let that producer produce the whole thing, you can come out with a quality album. This was very well crafted. It's clean, it's crisp, but it still feels gritty. I think the Clipse brought the best out of him. I think he brought the best out of the Clipse on this album. Everything worked to perfection. Let's get into the rapping side of things. Let's talk about Malice. Malice has been gone for 15 years. He hasn't picked up a microphone for real in 15 years. He's put out some solo albums, but that was earlier in his hiatus. He came out here and gave us bars like, I can open up my closet with a skeleton key. If I lie to myself, I can sell it to me. came back for the money. That's the devil in me. Malice brought pain, he brought honesty, wisdom, all of that into this album. I think he did a phenomenal job. For somebody who's been sitting on the bench for 15 years, it don't feel like it. Like, it felt like he never lost a beat throughout the whole thing. And that's what I enjoyed about this album so much. I love Pusha T side of things. Of course, Pusha T shot shots at Jim Jones and streamers and Zeus and all that other shit. But the standout person on here was Malice. Malice sat up here and said he was both Mason Bethers. If you guys don't understand what that means, go look that up. The line is crazy. He went second on, I think, every song on this album, and every time he went second, he knocked it out of the park. It was like Pusha T was the setup man throughout everything that was going on in this album, and he was just giving a lob to Malice, and Malice was just dunking that shit. Malice put up 62 points on this album, bro. You cannot tell me Malice did not steal the show on this album. I loved every bit of it. The features on this album was 50-50 for me. Let me explain. Kendrick Lamar's feature, very solid. I understood why people was talking shit about it also on the timeline. A lot of people was like, that's not a feature that's worth leaving Def Jam for. I disagree. I think if you really wanted to keep this feature on the album, yes, you do whatever you have to do to keep your integrity when it comes to being an artist. It was as solid as it wasn't one of his better features, in my opinion. I think he could have gave us way more than what he gave us. But I'm accepting of what we got, and I'm not tripping off of that. Nas' verse on here, very solid as well. I felt like if he would have been in the studio with them, we would have got something better. It just felt a little disconnected from what they was talking about on here. And again, it's Nas. You can't really talk bad about a Nas feature, but I just really felt like I could tell that he sent it in and he wasn't there in the studio with them to be able to make this. I think that verse would have been way better if he was with the Clipse and Pharrell and got in the booth with them and actually rapped in front of them. I think that we would have got a way better verse. Tyler on POV, that was the standout verse for me. His verse was so good. I loved it. He got into more of his grimy bag. I love it when Tyler gets into a different type of a bag, a different type of flow. I loved his verse on here. One of the better ones. The most disappointing thing on here was Stove God Cooks. He had a hook, and yes, he did kill that hook. The hook was fantastic. I wanted a verse. I wanted a Stove God Cook verse. I was looking for a verse like on Westside Gunn's Draymond Green song. If you've never heard his verse on Draymond Green, go listen to that song and you'll know what I'm talking about. I was wanting some Coke references. I was wanting Stove God Cooks to tell me what he was going to do with all of these bricks. And we didn't get that. And I feel kind of cheated. I feel like we need to go back and make a song where he actually has a verse with Pusha and Malice, and we get the Coke song that we have been looking for the longest time. But at the end of the day, it really was 50-50 for me when it came to these features, man. I'm not saying I was disappointed in them. I just feel like I wanted a whole lot more. As epic as they made this album come off as, I think the features should have matched the anticipation or the excitement that we were looking for when it came to this album. I love the fact that I can run this album back to back to back. I've listened to this album at least 15 times at the time of this recording, and that's rare to say in 2025. Like, a lot of people don't have as much replay value, but it's so much going on with the raps on here. It's so much going on with what you hear production-wise. It's so, like, I'm still trying to figure out entendres on this album right now. So bottom line, the Clipse just gave us the best album of 2025. The production is sharp. Pharrell sat up here and got in his bag, and he crafted all of these beats on his own. Like, this is nothing out of a folder. When you take a rapper like Malice, who's been sitting on the bench for 15 years, and come out with bars, and I'm talking like, not no bullshit. He got technical, and he sat up here and just every song, he just gave us something different. You can't buy that. Like, niggas don't do that shit no more. Malice came back, and he came back as a fucking force, and I love it. The album sounds crisp. Lyrically, nobody is doing anything better than this. I dare you to find another album that's just as good as this album. I dare you. You ain't gonna be able to do it. My final verdict on this album is top shelf. We just witnessed greatness. Nobody's doing it like this right now. And I think the old school way of doing things is actually working. These OGs are coming out here dropping fucking classics, and we need to start taking notes on this shit. Larry June gives us his second album of 2025 with Until the Night Comes. 14 tracks, 38 minutes long. This is a very solid Larry June album. I had higher expectations for it because it's Larry June and Cardo. Typically, they have great chemistry together. I usually get everything that I need when it comes to grown man motivational raps and the great production that Cardo usually does. But for some strange reason, this particular album does not hit. There's a few things here and there that I wasn't feeling. Let's get into the production side of things. Cardo is still in his bag. Now, Cardo gives us a lot of slow motion beats on here. He actually gives us a lot of strong bass lines, and he still understands how to give us that Bay Area feel. There's one song in particular, Organic Free Range Chicken. It felt like he took this song from the Dog Pound called Bomb Ass Pussy and reverse engineered it to make it sound like a Bay Area song. I don't know what it is about this song, but it just sounds exactly like if I played both of those songs side to side, you would say that's the same damn song. He just did something a little bit different. But that's what I like about Cardo. He'll take chances. Another song on here that he took a chance on is Canadian Snow. He has this real haunting R&B vocal loop that I don't know where he got it from. It sounds like he got it from like Jodeci or some shit. But it is like very hypnotic. And when you hear that vocal loop go throughout the whole song and you hear Larry June rhyming over the beat, it just has this like eerie feel, but it's dope as fuck. I love the fact that he did that. And then he did this beat switch on You Feel Me, which is one of my favorite songs on this album. I think his beat switch on here was like one of the best transitions on this album. So he took some chances on here, and he actually succeeded with the chances that he took. But too many songs on here feels a lot like the same thing he was doing on The Night Shift, just not on that same level. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like when he got on The Night Shift, he just said fuck it and just went all out. On here, it felt like they were two friends that was just super comfortable being in the studio together, and Larry June was like, I just want to put this shit together. And this is why I feel like we got the type of beats on here that we got. Speaking of comfortable, Larry June completely stays in his lane. I'm not mad at that because I don't expect Larry June to get into some gangster shit like that too. But Larry is on his biking shit. He's on his investment shit. And he's most definitely on flexing on y'all, letting y'all know what he got. I think that's dope as hell. Larry June understands his lane very well and he stays in it. And that's what I like so much about him. Like, he gonna stick to what he knows and he's gonna give it to you and flip it to you in a whole lot of different ways. One of my favorite bars on here though is from Canadian Snow, where he says, "Tender dick niggas tricking heavy, giving per diem. I'm in first class with a kit that costs $500,000. I spent that on a whip and got a few of them." The album flows very well. There's a few songs here that I don't like or I didn't really get into. One of those songs is Gotta Be Love. I've never liked the fact that Larry June makes these girl records. I don't like it because it just don't sound like him. He be on some Mackin shit, which is cool. That's Bay Area shit. He be on some Mackin, but I've never liked those records. I've never liked Larry June talking smooth to a chick. It just don't work for me. Another song on here, 100 Bags. The idea was good. The song don't work. Don Toliver typically hits when he does features. For some strange reason, I didn't like the feature. I didn't like the song. I didn't like anything. None of it was there for me. And I love Don Toliver. I'm a Don Toliver fan. But for this, I don't think they have great chemistry together. The Larry June, Don Toliver connection just ain't something that I want to hear. And that song didn't really work for me. There were other features on here like E40 and Richie Rich, which are Bay Area OGs. I'm gonna tell you right now, E40 can never give me a bad feature. Never. E40 is king. And I was surprised to hear Richie Rich. I haven't really heard a Richie Rich feature in a very long time, but he delivered, man. Like, I think Richie Rich is one of the most underrated Bay Area rappers people never talk about. Richie Rich got some shit. Go back and listen to some of his old shit. That nigga can rap. Probably the most disappointing feature on the album, though, is Payroll Giovanni's feature. I expected high level rapping from him, especially him being on a Larry June album with Cardo. I expected something way higher than what we got, and he kind of phoned it in, man. Like, I did not like his verse at all. He's had way stronger verses than this, and he could do way better than what he put out. But I love the fact when they get together, it's usually magic. But for some strange reason, Payroll Giovanni didn't sound motivated on this song. So, those were the things that was probably the biggest minus for this album, the feature list. Like, a lot of these features didn't hit like I thought they would. Now, the album has a lot of replayability. Anytime Larry June Cardo come out with an album together, they have a replayable album. You're going to find at least 5 to 6 songs on the album that you're going to put in a playlist and you're going to listen to or just go back to it. So that wasn't a problem. I think they get together and they get comfortable and they know what each other likes. But that can be a problem sometimes because you don't really get outside of your box and you really don't take as many chances as you should when you get with somebody who you make great music with. As much as I enjoyed this album, I have to compare it to The Night Shift, and The Night Shift was just a way better album. The Night Shift album is probably their best work to date. Like, they took a lot more chances, they had way better features, and it just sounded a whole lot sharper and crisper and it was just a way better listen, way smoother listen. I had really high expectations for this album as well because I think Larry June was riding the wave of having album of the year until Clipse came out. But this album is still solid. It's still a smooth listen. It's not very groundbreaking, but it's still motivational. So this album is a solid drop. Go out and listen to it, stream it for yourself, and see what you think. So with all that being said, guys, that's it. That's all I got for y'all. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Please get in the comments if you hate these reviews, if you love these reviews. There's always a conversation in the comments to be had, and I love to have these conversations with y'all. I'll be back on Sunday to give you guys some more music news and rant and rave about what's going on in the industry. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the STEM Society. I'll catch you guys next episode. Peace out.
Thank you for joining the STEM Society.